Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, also distinguished guests. We are happy to start this program at Business School, but I also would like to give you some more and detailed information about why we started Business School at Telekom Austria Group. What is necessary to create a group? What is necessary to create a successful group? And having a group operating in 8 countries doesn't sound easy, and it is not easy. And it's especially not easy if you have different cultures. And we have really different cultures. Belarus is different from Macedonia, is different from Croatia, is different from Bulgaria, is different from Austria. And I believe that a successful group only can be successful if, and we are again coming back to communication, if communication is a centerpiece of development for the group. And this was one of the starting points to start the corporate university called Business School, to enable that.
Good evening also from my side. I'm really happy to hear Hannes talking about Business School, because it really makes also the value of the Business School and the success of the Business School, having a CEO supporting that much, and you could just get a picture on how this works. As we are number 1 in many of our countries, or number 2, I think this is also because of the success of Business School, as people are learning there how to share knowledge, how to share experience, how to learn from each other. And I think this is one of the most important things when you're looking into how business schools, business universities are positioning themselves. Our aim is to stay ahead, to learn from benchmarks, to share, to learn from great ideas that are floating around outside, to discuss these ideas with guests, with specialists, with people who have worked a lot on it, and also to share that with you. And of course, we also want to get your insights, your experience, and that's the aim of the platform. That's the aim of Business School Impact.
So how can corporate universities take advantage of these trends, and how can they really leverage what they do best to take advantage of these trends and to provide personal development for their employees, also provide development for the company, to increase productivity, to increase profit? So I have some good and bad practices for the future for corporate universities. And I think first, and what's most important, is that we need to unlearn our traditional ideas about education, and about a lot of things, but about education, because the world is changing so quickly, we can no longer stick to the static idea of what education is. We need to unlearn it. You can't move forward until you get rid of the old. You have to clear out the old before you can add in the new. I think that for corporate universities, you need to provide learning opportunities for everyone, not just for your elite students, not just for your top performers. If you create like online type, I know it's not practical to go teach every single employee all these new and expensive courses, but if you make MOOCs and online learning platforms that anyone can access, even non-employees, that gives you an opportunity to see who is the top performer in this area, and then who's maybe a potential hire, who's going to be moving on to the more expensive courses, who's going to be a candidate for promotion or for just the next level. And Udacity is already doing this. Udacity partners with 350 different companies. Everyone can take their courses for free. These companies are paying Udacity, and then they can come in and they can pick the top 0.01% of performers in that class.
What education is state of the art? Are there trends that we should rather pass out? Or were there trends in the past where we thought it's going to be the big thing, but it didn't work out well? And how do we know which trends to follow? There's another microphone over there.
Okay. The problem about MOOC, for example, in the first version is that a lot of institutions take this old wine in new bottles. Yes, they take the old courses and say, okay, this is a MOOC available for anyone. And so that the content is not well prepared to meet the expectation of a MOOC. Yeah, so the question is, what education is state of the art? So education is really switching from the old school learning to new versions of learning. Failures in the past have been, for example, the first wave of e-learning. Yeah, so everyone said, hey, we have to do e-learning, and the employees said, e-learning, what is it? What should I do with it? When should I do it? Yeah, so very often the problem is that the change management is not well prepared. Yes, so the employee is not knowing why should I learn, when should I learn. That's the next question. Yes, so lifelong learning is a nice statement, but in the end you have 40 hours in your job, and when will you learn? During the 40 hours or during your free time, and who pays it?
One thing that we should avoid, the boring part. Now the attention span of people is getting shorter and shorter. And even in the very previous meeting that we had over here, we were, again reinforced that idea. So if we are speaking for too long, you're going to get your Blackberries out, which you should do anyhow, as long as they are Telekom Austria Group, and then you should, use them a lot because that's important. Now, one thing that we need to get out there for is the boring part. Learning does not need to be boring. Learning does not need to be painful. One thing that we should keep from the old days is the social side. And look, we are running a Futurist event in a very old fashion. All of us in the same room, you are listening to us, So, I mean, the social dimension cannot be lost. In fact, my bet is future are hybrids of things that we can, do through the new technology, and hybrids because still, getting together and having the opportunity to, be in the same place is still very relevant.
I think learning is not so much about reading and getting information. It is about making an experience. And I think you just shared it. And that's what we are trying to do within the business school or with many other activities, to get people making an experience so that not once they are CEO have to go into it, but they can try earlier. And there is this maybe also old-fashioned thing about these 70-20-10. So learn 70% of your daily job of stretch experience within projects, within experience you were forced to make, even you were not prepared into it. And then there is 20% because you're looking at people, watching them, learning from them, coaches, mentors, or people you simply admire. And then there is 10% you can get out of books, technology, or whatsoever. And I think that's what we're trying with the business school as well.
It's probably no surprise, but I will say technology can help us in this area as well. It's really important to separate the signal from the noise. Like I mentioned, we were creating terabytes, petabytes of information now in every 10 minutes. So how do you find what's really valuable, what's really important out of this just wealth of information? And technology can do that as well, because you can have technologies that curate information that help you pick what's most important. I have an alert I get every day that has, of all the people I have on Twitter that I follow, different technology experts in different areas, what was the most important to many of them? So where did they kind of intersect? And so I just get the top stories. I get all that noise filtered away, and I just get the top stories of what's important in XYZ field, whatever I'm researching that day. Because it's just impossible to go through all this new information, especially as the amount of information grows so rapidly with all these new changes. So we need to look to technology as well, because that's really the only way we can do that.